Hey, Glow Stars. We're back today. Today is a new day, and we got a great new topic for you today. I'm really excited to share today. Before we begin, we just would like to ask you guys to like, share, tag someone into this message. Today, we're going to be sharing about why your mind, body, spirit, and soul is a priority. We just come to you today with this message because in the times that we are living in, a lot of times we put emphasis on our physical body, but we don't do enough. We're not doing enough as a people for our body, our spirit, our soul, and making that a priority. Um, Before we begin, you all know we always come with the scripture. And so I'll be reading today out of First Thessalonians 5:23 through 24 in the Message version. And what it says is, may God Himself, the God who makes everything holy and whole, make you holy and whole, put you together, spirit, soul, and body, and keep you fit for the coming of our Master Jesus Christ. The one who called you is completely dependable. If He said it, He'll do it. We want to share with you today about the emphasis and really break down the mind, the body, the spirit, and the soul. All four of these entities that would make us up as a human beings are really important. We were just talking over the weekend and over the days as far as us even being mental health therapists about the mind. And I'm not going to get into a lot of it because the mind is our next session that we're having in a couple weeks at Northeast Missionary Baptist Church. If you all please come out on this one, it's going to be a really good time. But the mind is the biggest organ in our body. The mind is what controls everything about us. If the mind shuts down, our body shuts down. And we don't do enough with keeping our minds clear. As therapists, right? We see so many people struggling with mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, schizophrenic, a lot of times dealing with trauma, just going through things, right? It takes a toll on your body. When your mind is in distress, your organs internally are distressed. So you don't see your mind, right, on the outside of your body. We know that our mind is functioning because we wake up every morning, but we don't do enough when we saying take care of your mind. What are you putting? What are you thinking about? What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you watching? Um, what are you allowing yourself to even think about? A lot of times we tell people this in counseling, right? Your mind controls your entire mood. It controls your body. It controls everything. And a lot of times, with sharing this with you all, I just want to let you know you do have control of your thoughts. So everything that the enemy invites to you to think about, you don't have to think about. I want to break down the body. And then I'm gonna open it up to my team as we can share on the spirit and soul for your body. 3 John 1 and 2 says, may your soul prosper as well as your body. So even within our team, right? We have been making different changes as far as what we put into our body because it's so important. Even in God's word, it tells you the type of diet you should have. And when we say diet, Portia from Northeast Missionary Baptist Church, she made a great point. I told her I was going to quote her. um, Healthy is not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So when you think about your mind, your body, your spirit, and your soul, it shouldn't be something that you just think about sometimes or when you're in crisis or when you're going through something. If you're taking care of yourself all the time, it better prepares you for when hard times come. You shouldn't wait to go on a diet or eat healthy when you see yourself and you have gained weight. And we all been guilty of that, right? But it's a new day and it's a new time, and these things have to become a priority. Um, there's no more time left to not be concerned about your soul. Your soul is your entire being, and your spirit, your soul is your mind, your will, and emotions. And as therapists, these are the things that we tackle: your soul, your spirit, and your mind. And when those things are healthy, you are in a way better position to take care of your body. Ladies, I'm going to open the floor up to you because I've said a lot already. Um, let's go.
That was a good, great introduction, Gail. What I was going to add to that was, um, the mind. The mind guides us to the other parts that we're discussing. So your body, your spirit, and your soul. Obviously, from a religious standpoint, our soul is left after we're gone. But what we have encountered while we're here on earth will equate to our soul, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so all of our thoughts, all of our decisions, all of our actions start in the mind. When we make up our mind to make changes, when we make up our mind to follow God, when we make up our mind to be who He has created us to be, when we make up those decisions of who we marry, the relationships we have in our life, every single
Yes.
decision and action that we make becomes starts at our mind. So this is why, as mental health therapists, obviously, we focus so much on what we say, what we're internalizing and in our daily walk. What we do with a lot of clients who struggle with worthiness, self esteem, is affirmations, because it's something that has to constantly be on their mind to remind them of those things. And that's what we talk about with those daily things that you do in order to make those changes for your spirit, which means it will then help you, how you see yourself, how you see your spirit, how you see your relationship with God, how you see yourself being able to progress and get better in the areas that you're not doing well in. And so how we see ourselves in our mind, which means our thoughts, is a catalyst to the other areas that we're discussing, like our body and our spirit and our soul.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, I was just gonna say, as far as to piggyback a little bit off of what you were saying, Darnisha, when it comes to the spirit, understanding that we have gates, ear gates, eye gates,
Mhm.
and what we see and what we hear. So, what are we digesting on a daily basis?
Mhm.
So, understanding that if we are feeding ourselves, good things or whatever, and not to the point of where it's just overly excessive,
Yeah.
we have to have a balance
Mhm.
between all of that. You have to have a balanced diet. So what does that look like, right? Um, okay, balance as far as work life, home life, just a balance overall. Not diving too far into this, now I'm, to where it looks as if like I'm running from something, right? A lot of times we can run to even the good things, but now we're just overly compensating and it still doesn't help with the problems or the issues that arise within the mind, the body, soul, as well. And so we have to just make sure that we are taking time to just balance our lives, to make sure that we are feeding ourselves the right portions of everything.
Right.
If we, like you said, if we make up our minds, then everything else follows, right? So now my mind is made up. So now I've made a strong choice. So now I know that I have to get a daily word in that feeds my spirit man, right?
Mhm.
As well as it keeps down the soul that wants to come up, those emotions that want to arise to make me
Mhm.
just operate out of, my emotions.
Yep.
And so as far as what the body goes, when I digest, when I'm eating good things, then I feel energetic, right? Versus if I'm gonna eat soul food every day, I know I'm gonna, you know, be sluggish and I'm
Right.
gonna be ready to
Exactly.
take a nap every single day. But we have to really evaluate, where are we in life and why are we here, and then you go from there to make the decisions that are necessary to make sure that you have a good, healthy, whole mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Man, you
That's
just
good.
did like this square, right? And I was just envisioning what you said about a well-balanced, healthy diet.
Mhm.
So again, for people that are listening, when you hear diet, you just think of physical, like what I put in my body. But here's a square, right? What Tatiana said, it first starts in your mind. So your mind has to be a diet. If you just listening to rap music and shoot 'em up bang bang every day, what you think your body, you on 10, you ready to go. It's heightening your emotions, it's heightening your soul. So you on a defensive, you're not gonna be thinking right. How you set your atmosphere, how you start your day, what you listen to, all of these are so important because everything is going back into your soul and your spirit. We don't give enough credit to our spirit. We all understand this now, whether you're a believer, whether you're an atheist, whatever, all people can agree that we're all spiritual beings, right? And so, even with that being said, there's not enough priority being taken into how you take care of your spirit. Your spirit is something that is going to live outside of your body. So even though we cannot see these things, we cannot see this inner things. Thank you, Nikki. She said, yes, ma'am. That is a good how you start your day. Even though you can't see your soul, your spirit, how you operate. This is your soul and your spirit. So what Darnisha was saying about who you're connected to, the friendships that you have, all of those things feed who you become. It's
Mm-hmm.
important. For mental health, let's just start with that. Your mind, your emotions, your soul. We all know that everyone out here is facing something. We personally know people right now going through a lot of things. How you take care of yourself is so important for the hard times. And trust me, we thought COVID was bad. We're about to encounter something worse than COVID. How are you going to take care of yourself? Don't allow yourself to get to the point where we're all in dire need and in tragedy before you try to figure out how to take care of yourself. That's just like smoking cigarettes for 60 years and then the doctor tell you got cancer. You didn't
And
already,
you're like, I
yeah,
better quit smoking.
the damage is already done.
You're
So
right.
when you think about your body, your soul, and spirit, it's the same thing. Don't damage yourself beyond repair when there's things out there that you can do to really help you take care of you.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you gave a good example as far as the smoking, but think about this even when it comes to drinking. There are some people that have drunk so much over the years to where if they stop drinking, it will kill them.
Yeah.
And so they have fed themselves so much bad to where it's just like, I can't even stop the bad in order to truly even save my life. I have to keep doing it. So you get to a point in a place to where you can't even turn around, you know, on things like that, right? So why wait to get to that point to where you can't stop? And so it's just really important that we just really take the time out to see how important, life is. There are people literally passing away each and every day, young, old, it does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about, us taking care of ourselves and making sure that we are um, under or with the right people. We have to make sure that we have the right people around us. We're not supposed to do these things alone. So it's good to have teams, partners, and different things like that. But you got to know that you got the right team and the right partnerships. And so, how we steward our diets is the same way as how we're supposed to steward the people around us. And so we have to have a balance with all those things, because I know that I'm trying to do something that is going to be beneficial for me, but I don't need somebody that's going to be speaking negative now into my spirit, man, and trying to get me to forget what I already I know what has been said to me about what I'm supposed to do. um your walk and understanding those things as far as with your mind, body, and spirit and soul is not for everybody. And so everybody may not understand why you have chosen to do something different, why you have chosen to set apart and make these things a priority. In mental health, we see so many people fall because they have so many negative voices that are coming in, and that is deterring them, is breaking them down. And so you begin to even see it. Verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse. Those are real things that we see, transpire in a lot of people's lives. And a lot of people will hold on to those things because they don't know how to function without it. And it's sad because now we need to learn how to help people come out from under the abuse, and learn how to live a healthy, whole life.
Absolutely, I agree with that. What I was going to add, one of the hardest things about, anything in our life is changing our mind. And I always tell people when we're in that midst of that, if you have made the choice for the bad decisions, guess what? You have the ability to make the choice for the good decisions. And although change is difficult for most of us, just like you made the choice to do that bad thing for however long you chose to do that bad thing, you can make the choice to do that good thing for however long you choose to make the choice to do that good thing. We have a lot more control over these things in our lives than we actually give ourselves credit for.
Mm.
As therapists, we often hear, "Well, I can't do that. That's not something I've ever done before." And I often have to say, "Well, maybe that's why you need to do it. Is because you've never done it before."
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Mhm.
Oftentimes, we know as individuals that God will pull us into places and things that we have never ever thought about doing.
Mhm.
Maybe, and oftentimes we don't necessarily even understand.
Right.
But when we get on the other side of that, we realize where God was trying to take us and how much better it is for our life. Just imagine if we didn't have the worthwhile to change our mind and stand in obedience to do something that we had never done before, but how much more beneficial it is for our life. And so when we talk about mind and body, which we do focus a lot on, the biggest thing is change. In order to change my body, I have to change my mind. In order to change my spirit and what I've been living with, I have to change my mind. In order to know that when I leave this world and the soul and the legacy I leave behind, and when I'm up there with God, that is something that I've already made the decision to change far before He sent me home. But we have to function in that ability to know we have a choice to change those things and not living in fear that because I've always done it this way, or this is the only way I know that God can put us on the other side in order to
Right.
be able to change those other portions of our life. So priority is key, but also change. The mind is powerful. It can convince us of the most delusional and irrational thoughts. But if it can do the negative, oh, it can do the positive.
Right. That's
I
good.
want to speak, y'all. It's really good things. I want to just share with you what I was hearing God say, right? So, first, when you talk about change and you want to change your mind, body, soul, and spirit, when you're around certain people, you have to understand who you're connected to because they will put their insecurities out on you. So let's just say you want to change your diet. My coach says this all the time. If you say that you're not eating meat and then you got people around you like eat meat, you got to look at them. Is you for me or is you against me? Um, when I started going down this road, getting my soul and my spirit right after a devastating loss, I had people around me that didn't understand why I was going to church, didn't understand why I was using my tap counseling tools, didn't understand the reason why I was changing. You hadn't been what I had been through. But I didn't allow their insecurities or their judgment change what I knew that God was telling me to do. When you talk about making things a priority in your life, look at the people around you and look at the backlash you get for just trying to get right. In our community, right? I was just seeing a post yesterday and I was just shaking my head like if you been a certain type of way, why you gonna change now? Why not? So do we have to have a specific time or we need your approval to make better choices?
Right.
So again, that's why I wanted to talk about the insecurities. Nikki said, girl, now for real. Um, you have to understand that your mind, body, soul, and spirit is your priority. It ain't
Mhm.
your mama's priority. It's not your friends. It's not your husband. It's not your wife priority. Like what God said in that First Thessalonians, you take care of yourself well. I'm gonna read the scripture again because I just know someone really needs to hear this. May God Himself, the God who makes everything holy and whole, make you holy and you whole and you put together, spirit, soul, and body, and keep you fit.
Mhm.
So He not saying that yes, Nikki, it is the truth. He ain't saying like I'm gonna. You are an individual person, and God is taking care of us all. But He asks you get yourself fit, And he's not just talking about getting your body fit. You can be looking so good on the outside and be a mess on the inside. He said, no, get your mind, your spirit, and your soul fit. Prepare for what is to come. So you guys are track stars. I'm not gonna do the track analogies. I'm gonna save it for the track. But I can just imagine, right, before a big track meet, how long did y'all have to prepare?
Months, really, months. That's a great analogy. I love sports analogies, particularly track analogies. But I remember Usain Bolt when he was running, the Jamaican Olympian, and he said, "I trained 4 years to run a race in less than 10 seconds." He trained 4 years to run a race that he ran in less than 10 seconds. So my point is because he made it a priority, So those elite athletes make it a priority. They live and breathe mind and body. Um, and spirit, because track and sports in general, any athlete will tell you that any athlete of any sport will tell you that it's definitely a mental game. And if you're not on your middle game, you will lose, not based off of your talents, but because you have mentally checked yourself out.
Yep.
And so, um, any athlete will tell you that. And so, all of those things are encompassed of that, especially the mind, the body, and the spirit when it comes to elite athletes. So, I totally 100% agree with you because um, it's like we talk about the healing journey, it's an ongoing thing. As athletes, we're always trying to get better. You don't ever want to be where you were the year before. You
Yeah.
want to get better.
Right.
And so we should look at that when we're talking about our own mind, body, and soul, our relationship with God. Um, how we learn the Bible, how we treat people. There should be a visible way that we understand that we are treating people in ourselves better than we have before in the past.
Yeah.
And if you can't see your progress, like for athletes, we can see our progress because we can see our progress through stats, right? Whereas believers, we should be able to see our progress through our works. We should be able to see that we have a better attitude. We're treating our husbands and wives better. Our kids are better. We're able to be in a better place in our jobs. We're able to take those daily walks that we never did the year before. We're able to see that we're losing a little bit of weight that's healthier. We're no longer on those blood pressure pills. We're no longer on those anxiety pills. We're no longer a diabetic. That's how we show God that we have been doing the work, and from the inside, because we always say this. I know we said this pretty much on every live, from the
Yeah,
inside out.
Yeah.
good to know.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of beautiful men and women out here, exceptionally gorgeous, that we get to see, especially via social media, Zooming, and we don't know what spirits and things that they're battling, but they're beautiful though.
Yeah.
So I
Uh,
want to be when I leave this earth, I want to be more than just a beautiful body.
yes.
That's all I'm
Agree.
saying.
Yeah. I agree. And you know what I understand, and I've seen this several times, just where people have went and got weight loss surgery, right?
Mhm.
But the surgery didn't fix what was wrong on the inside. So you
Exactly.
see people lose so much weight, right? And it's just like, oh, look at them, look at them. But because they never actually did the work, other than, I'm just eating a little less, other than, I may, show up and do something here and there. And then now you see them have to work so much harder because they've gained the weight back because the habits that they had, they did not change. And so now you have went and you had surgery, but now everything that you tried to shrink with surgery has
Come
now
back
came back and
wrong.
expanded.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Ain't
so
that
now you gotta actually think, okay, well, why did all this weight come back? Well, the weight came back because you never actually did the work. You never changed your mind. You never changed the habits. You never even showed up for yourself. And so now you want to go try to work out and exercise, and now you can't lose the weight because now you have spiritual weight because it's battles that you didn't actually fight. And so we have to understand that God is going to honor the work and that we put in, right? And so if we don't show up to actually put in quality work, why would we expect to start seeing results? And
There you
so
go.
in order to get results, you got to put in quality work. We have to make sure that we're pure in heart. We have to make sure that we don't have negative and bad motives behind why we're doing. Oh, I'm just want to lose this weight because I'm just trying to look good for everybody. I want people to see me. I want attention or whatever. And guess what? All of the attention that you're getting is negative. So now you still don't even feel good about yourself because nobody sees you.
Or attracting the wrong thing. You're doing it for the
Attracting the
wrong.
wrong
Yes,
people.
yes,
So
most definitely.
when I was hearing you and Darnisha talk, what God said, as a people, as believers, do you want to be elite or mediocre?
Mm.
Yeah.
And that is a big question. I said, God, that's
Mhm.
good. When you're elite, you it's a lifestyle, right? You always working towards a goal. When you elite, you set the standard.
Yeah.
So all these mediocre people with their insecurities, they see you doing work, they don't want to do the work. So they just like, oh, okay, let me talk about them. Let me get their spirit down. Let me get their soul down because I don't want them to be at a higher level than me. When you're elite, what God has called us to be, you on a higher level. And this is what he's asking to the believers. Why G.L.O.W is even coming back because he's been working on us and telling us this. How, as the believers, can we look like the world? We're the ones that are supposed to be out here on our posts. We're the ones that's supposed to be out here embodying what it's like to have an elite mind, body, soul, and spirit. So if they looking at us, the world, and they like, she's smoking and drinking every day. Uh, they out to eat every time we see them. And this is the truth because people judge, right? What
Mm.
example is that really to people? If you're not mentally stable, we talked about this on our live as far as leadership and things and pastoral people and things. If you're not dealing with your own mental health, how are you helping other people? How are you leading the flock when your life is a mess?
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of my one of the Gail, I love that one. Because one of my things as an athlete that I believed in was I didn't believe in mediocrity. I wasn't okay with just being average.
Period.
I didn't like, I was one. T would tell you she was been my teammate for the last 20 plus years. Like I was one not happy with losing. I didn't. I wasn't okay with just the bare minimum. And we have to be like that as believers.
Yeah.
About
See,
every area.
we have to be like that as believers and understanding that if God has called us to whatever our purpose He has called us for, but the very least as a believer, that we are setting the example. That we're not okay with mediocrity. We're not just okay with what the world does, and that we're following suit with that.
Yeah.
Um, and that is even in the toughest moments, being who God has called us to be, which is loving. He tells us to love our neighbors. He tells us to even love our enemies. And yeah, that's tough. I
Right.
ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
But He's called us higher than the world, right? Because the world would say, no, you ain't gotta talk to them. You ain't gotta say nothing to them. Why you being nice to them? That was dead wrong to you. You know what I'm saying? You know she don't like you. That's what the world would tell you, but God is calling us higher than the world, which you said is elite. We
Yeah.
can be mediocre and blend in with everybody else and blend in with the world.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's not what God is calling us to be. And that's why I feel like as the body, as we've been talking about the body of Christ and believers, is that there is not a distinction,
Yeah.
that a lot of us are looking just like everybody else.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that even as believers that we're going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect. That's just, it's not a realistic expectation. And God already knew that. That's why He gave up His Son. He knew we were going to be sinners. But in that, even with that, being honest about that, we shouldn't talk or look like everybody else.
Yeah.
And when it's said and done, they should be able to look at us as the example. For
Yeah.
those that are searching who haven't got to those parts of their life, because we were at where they are now, we were there at some point. Um, that we should be the example, and that takes a lot of humility. But we can't stand on being just like the crowd and being mediocre. We got to be the elite. We have to be the example. We have to be the record breakers. I mean, me and T is already record breakers. You know what I'm saying? We
Well,
got we got to
hmm,
stay on there. You
a
see what
lot
I'm
of work
saying?
to do. Don't what do I got to do then to break
uh,
And what
we
we doing now?
exactly?
I feel like people don't, but Gail, this is the crazy part because I feel like people don't realize that they've already broken records in their lives. You know what I'm saying? And you
Period.
may not feel like you have, but Gail, you're the first author in our family. That's record breaking.
Thank you,
That's
Donnie.
record breaking.
You made me
You see what I'm
cry.
saying? So people don't feel like they have set the standard, but you set a standard for a generation.
Yeah.
A
Thank
generation you might not even get to see. So we it's even on those small things that they create such uh a huge impact. And so we need to be able to understand that we can't look and act just like everybody else. Like we fall short, but we need to understand most of those days we need to be walking where we're talking, and we can still have fun, and we can still have a good time, and we can still praise God, and we can still have laugh because the three of us laugh all the time. And
you.
we can still do good things because that's what God has said. He wants us to live our life abundantly. We don't need to have this mind frame that if you're a believer of God, that now your life is in solace and you can't enjoy everything that God has given us to
Exactly.
enjoy.
Right.
It's actually the total opposite. I
Yeah.
haven't did any less of living good on this journey of healing and being closer to God than I did when I was solely living in the world. That
Hey,
no.
I enjoy my life way more.
I still do absolutely fun things. I still have a good time. I'm still able to do some of the best things I enjoy doing, like traveling. The deal is that some things have to go, and I don't even miss them, so I'm cool with that.
Facts.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So
I knew you had something to say, so I was
so
like,
just a little bit of something as far as just the team aspect. So I just keep hearing, and it's something God had shared with me before, and he was just talking about the game of football, right? And so a lot of times in football when the play breaks down, a lot of times it's the decisions are up to the quarterback, right? That's the one that runs the show. And if the quarterback makes a mental error, now he's either fumbled or he's got sacked or either he's thrown an interception, right? And so we have to make sure that we understand as far as when it comes to the breakdowns of life. And so the support that we have around us when life begins to break down, when things begin to shift, as well as understanding when things begin to be pruned off of us. Because I mean, the pruning stage of life is not fun, but it's an opportunity for God to now build character. And so we can't, when things break down or whatever, we can't just make decisions just because we feel like we're in charge of making the decision. And so now it's just like, okay, all right, we got to go talk to the coach. Who is the coach? We got to go talk to God. Okay, God, when things like this happen, what should I do? How should
yeah,
I respond?
yeah,
And so but if we allow our soul, which is our mind, will, and emotions, to now rise up, and it's just, hey, now we become selfish, right? And it's all about us. We never actually go check with the one we're supposed to go check with, which is God, to now start taking what he's given us to apply it to our lives. And so you will always see a fumble in life, you will always see an interception, or you'll
yeah,
always see yourself get sacked in life, in just the weight and the heaviness of life take you out when you stop going back and checking with the coach. And so I just want everyone to understand the importance of relationship with God and how it affects our mind, body, spirit, and souls. Because if our relationship with God is not on point, if we are not actively engaged in intimacy with him and building that relationship with him, then we will actively find ourselves in a part of the game where we are taking hits that we shouldn't.
and I just want
Absolutely.
to say this, God has all made every single person on this earth differently. We all have different fingertips. We may look alike, but nobody is alike, even identical twins. When you were saying that, what we need from God, what we need to put into our body, what we need to put into our soul, it may be different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like me personally, how I'm shaped, I can't do different things, that maybe another person would do,
Mhm.
but God, I thank you, Jesus. It's a tailoring. So
Yeah.
he has tailored us all for a reason, for a specific reason here on this earth. I think about Esther. Esther was one of the beautifulest women at her time or whatever, and she got favor from the king. And God made her beautiful for a reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, I'm pretty, like what people do in these days. It was, I'm beautiful because I have a calling on my life, and this was something that I needed. Everybody is tailored differently. When you go to the doctor, it might be two people battling cancer, but you both get two different prescriptions, two different regimens for even what you're battling. You have to go to him for everything that you need, especially during hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Therapists, we're mental health therapists, and I say this to my people all the time. Don't wait until your world is in shambles, until you mentally breaking down to get some help. The whole point, we said this on our last live, our people perish for a lack of knowledge, meaning don't wait till it get bad to try to get some tools for yourself. When you were talking about football, that's what it comes down to. We should not be living our lives on a defense, waiting
Mm-hmm.
for stuff to happen. And then it's like, oh, we got to respond. Why your mind, body, and spirit and soul is a priority, because we should be living on the offense. We shouldn't be waiting for stuff to happen. We should be making stuff happen. That's elite. That's a priority. I don't need to get sick in order to get healthy. Let me just get healthy now. We're
Yeah.
getting older. I was just thinking about that. I'm getting old. I'm almost 40. Sorry, Darnisha. But I was just like, I'm almost there. Start taking care of myself because I know I'm a heavier person. Some stuff gonna shut down if I ain't taking care of it right. For your mind, stress is a killer. So even things that you don't even see, how you operate, how you deal with stuff, you gotta have mental health tools to even know how to deal with stuff in the right way. We all have walked through hard times. We don't look like we've been through nothing. It's because we literally have applied these tools to our life. We know these things work. And especially your soul, that's your mind, will, and emotions. That's a definitely a plus where mental health kicks in. If you don't know how to deal with you, how you gonna deal with other people?
Right.
Good, yeah. What God had me hearing when you were talking was preparation. And so when I think about preparation is the Bible. God has prepared us for anything that we're going to encounter because we have his word. It's
Yeah.
preparation there. And so in the Bible, it talks about, especially in parables, all these situations that have happened, and he has prepared us,
Hmm.
saying, look, if this happens, you can go to me. If
Yeah.
this happens, there's nothing that you're going to encounter where you can't come to me. I have given you preparation. Because as I say, things are going to happen in life. It's not an if things are going to happen. Things are. It's a
It's
when
yeah.
things are going to happen. And so he has given us being able to prepare ourselves for those things. And so we have the ability to do that. It's when you're going through things, we forget that we have the ability to do that and to go to him to allow him to help us through those problems and have that relationship. And as Tatiana was saying earlier about relationship with God, how important it is for us to each individually have our relationship. God each talks to us very differently because the way we receive it a lot of times is differently. There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely 100% okay. But if we don't each have our separate relationship with each other, then how do we hear from God when he needs to help us through those tough moments?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't hear like Tatiana hears. I don't hear like Gail hears. But God still speaks to me and God still speaks to them. And every time when we need something, we hear it and we're able to receive it. And so that's why it's so important that you have your own personal relationship with God. So when he needs to speak to you, that you're able to hear it and receive it. Because we all gonna need to. There's like again, there's not an if. There's gonna be a when. We're all gonna need it, and so it's like our daily conversations with ourselves. We need to be with each other as friends and business partners. Also talking to God, like, look, this, you know what I'm dealing with. I'm asking for this. I'm asking for that. I'm needing this. I'm whatever. We need to be having those conversations with him And so we're able to hear from him clearly. Our mind is so powerful. And we take so much consideration for the body, but our body and our spirit and our soul would be so much better if we took the first step in our mind. And it's having our relationship with God, changing the habits in there, getting mental health therapy to deal with a lot of things that we've held in, not dealt with, um, usually for a lot of people for several years. And it affects what? Your body, your spirit, and your soul.
Yes.
Mhm.
And can I just add this one thing because I see you thinking, Tatiana. But when you were saying that, I want to relate to us three and give people really an example because God was like the reason why a lot of times people don't receive is because of familiarity. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I know all about them. The reason why God even had us to even start getting back on here is because we all three have had our individual walks, and people may think they know us, or you heard about us, or you didn't heard something about us. You don't know, but to really be able to explain, even between us three, Darnisha's my cousin. Tatiana's been a good friend for a long time. They're best friends. We are all three intertwined. We don't ever look at each other like I know everything about her. We actually are open enough to receive what the other person is saying to us, and this is what makes a strong team. Just imagine though how strong the body would be, believers would be, if we stop being so familiar and receive the help and receive from people, because everybody has something different. Like what Darnisha was saying, Darnisha comes with something and I'll be like, oh man, that was good. Tatiana comes with something that's good. We listen to each other. We ain't too familiar to be like, she don't know what she talking about, or she didn't have this stuff going on in her life, so she can't tell me nothing. We probably ones that could tell you something because we done been through it, and not in a highly knowing type of way, but let me tell you, let me help you how we walk through these things, how we got through these things, why we don't look like what we've been through, why we're still successful, why we're still thriving, because we're not familiar.
Yeah.
My pastor can call and tell me something. I listen to her. I listen to him. I'm not too familiar to where I don't hear the God in people.
Mm.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's real good. People think they know you. Social media has warped the mind of people to believe that they know you based
That's
off of
a
social media.
topic. Yep.
It's, when I hear especially someone I haven't talked to in years, or even haven't actually had official contact in years, and be like, "Oh, you different, you change. You don't know me. You
Right.
don't know me. If I haven't associated with you, and since, for example, undergrad, you don't know me. I'm not mad that you don't know me. I'm not upset about that, but that's the fact. You do not know me. And so people think they know you by your past, by their past relationship with what they've heard from someone else, the few things you post on social media. They do not know you. But God does. And I
Yeah.
can tell him any and everything. And so
Yes.
I'm not so concerned about who people think they know of me. I know who I am because God told me who I was.
Facts.
And so we need to be more in a mind frame of that. Now, if God allows people in my past back into my life, and they get to know this version of me, I can guarantee you they will say there's definitely something different about who you are today. That's because God had to do a lot of I had to do a lot of work, and He had to bring me to who I am today. But don't ever think that just because you are currently somewhere now, that God can remove you and make you someone so much better. And to where people say, this, I don't know this version of you. That's okay. I'm gonna teach you about this version of me if God
Right.
tells me to.
Right.
But it's a lot of people out there that think they know who you are based off of who you used to be. You ain't gotta worry about
But I was gonna
that.
say, but people only expect for you to be the same because they're still the
They're the
same.
same. Absolutely.
But
And so,
that goes back to that insecurity. I'm changing.
Hmm.
You still the same. Don't
Yeah.
put that on me.
Don't put that on me. And so, one of the things we've all said before is that people use the term friend very loosely. And I think we all realize, I don't have very many friends. Do I know a lot of people? Do we all collectively know a lot of people? Yeah, but we don't have a lot of friends.
Yes.
And so again, we're very content and okay with that. Um, because like I said, when God tells us otherwise, then that's when we move on that. But I truly believe that on this walk that we're gonna have a lot of people that we connect with and that are really good people. And we're going to even create better relationships. But at the end of the day, the most important relationship is that what we have with God. And once you're able to get that clear um, relationship with Him, um, it changes your whole viewpoint, even how you view your relationships and the people in your life, as it should, really, because we need to always take assessment of that. I tell the ladies all the time, one thing I always pray for is discernment, because I don't ever want to continue to attach myself to people that God didn't personally put in my life before, because I feel like I've done that. And so I always ask for discernment, because if I'm using my discernment, I know that much quicker. I don't have to find out 3 years down the line what God could have told me in week one. So that's what I pray for discernment a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Anything else, ladies, that we
Nope.
want to end our subject on today?
No, I think this was a really good message. I hope people tag, like, and share. Um, we cannot continue to play with our lives. This is all I'm gonna say. You
No,
cannot continue to play with your body. You cannot continue to play with your soul, your spirit. Like what Tatiana said, I think like people leaving this earth left and right. Why we don't make these things a priority, I don't know. But it took me seeing the world, what was transpiring, even the things that was coming against me to know like, yeah, you better get yourself in order because the world is out of order.
absolutely.
So for the believers now, um, get your mind right, get your body right, get your spirit right, get your soul right. God said, get it, put it all together and make it fit.
Absolutely. I agree. Um, we always talk about it there, but there's no time like the present. The
No.
past is gone. We can't do anything about it. The future is not here yet, so we don't know what it looks like. But we can do something right now in the present. So there's no time like the present. That's one reason why Ghost Stars exists, because we can help you on that journey. So definitely follow us on Facebook for our Glow Stars page. Follow us on TikTok at glow.stars7, where we do post clips of our videos and we make our own videos. You can also email us at glowstars101@gmail.com. We do reply to messages when you inbox us via Facebook or any of those other avenues. So we're excited to hear from you guys, and just thanks for listening to us today.
Oh, before we end, next announcement, we just have one announcement. We'll be back at Northeast Missionary Baptist Church June 29th, and our message, our topic, what we're going to be giving tools on is the mind. Uh, last triggers and coping skills blew our minds. It was so amazing. We want to thank everybody for the feedback, everyone that attended. I'm smiling. I think we all smiling. It was very, very good. We're looking forward to it. We'll be posting our Eventbrite. It's in Oklahoma City. And get your tickets. We'll be sharing about some things, but also within the groups, we actually give practical tools. Um, Utilize things that you can use from a biblical and a therapeutic standpoint. We're just giving people the things that they need. Again, our people perish for a lack of knowledge. Our job as mental health therapists, Christian counselors, is to give our people the tools that they need to combat the things that are going on in this world and the things that are to come. So we have a mission to do, and we just hope you all participate. We want to thank everybody for listening. Please like, tag, and share. Get the word out there. Get us out there. And until next time, thank you, Glow Stars.